You're listening to Nicola Explores on BCFM.
Thanks for tuning in to Nicola Explores on this Tuesday evening. Believe it or not, tonight I have a bear in the studio. Not a real bear, of course, but a local that many Bristolians will know. He's well known in Bristol's punk music scene. He was the frontman of Lunatic Fringe starting in the 80s and now is the frontman of Klub. He's also been a DJ and worked with his brother producing some music videos. So tonight we're going to be chatting all things music, Bristol, punk and pubs. Let's welcome Bear Hackenbush to the studio. Hello, Bear.
Good evening, Nicola. It's nice to be here.
And it's great to have you on the show. Before we start, and I sneak in one of my favourite songs from the 70s, can you tell me how you earned the nickname Bear Hackenbush?
Well, Bear Hackenbush, that was... The name Bear was a school name. That was my nickname at school, which I took on. Didn't like it at first, but I took it on over the years. And then the Hackenbush came from, we needed two names, like a surname, when we recorded our first single with Lunatic Fringe in about 1983. So I was actually watching an old Marx Brothers film, and one of the characters, I think, was called P.J. Hackenbush, and I thought, that's the perfect surname for me, for my stage name.
And that's how it all came about.
Absolutely, yes.
And there's often quite interesting names in these punk bands. Are there any other ones that you know of?
What, interesting names?
Yes.
Well, there's loads of, like, if you think, like, Rat Scabies was the drummer of The Damned, and Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious. So it was quite a thing that no one actually used their real names in a lot of punk bands in those days, and that sort of still continues today. I think our the other vocalist with glue bags called Rancid. So there you go. What
a beautiful name.
I know, a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and that's quite different to what I've gone for my DJ name, which is Fabette.
A very different times, different eras.
Different vibes, yes.
Yeah.
So although punk is your thing, I know that you're partial to some glam rock too. So hopefully you and all of our listeners will enjoy this song. This song was released in 1973 by T.Rex. It's 20th Century Boy. What a great song. It's one of those songs that it's hard to believe didn't actually get to number 1, believe it or not. It reached number 3 in the UK charts and was blocked by another glam rock song, and that was Come On Feel the Noise by Slade. Which song do you prefer, Bear?
I think I'd probably say the T.Rex song.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be that's one of my favourites by him.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that one.
I really like that one as well. You're listening to Nicola Explores here on BCFM, and if you've just tuned in, tonight Bear Hackenbush is joining me in the studio, and Bear is the frontman of local punk band Glue, but in his life of punkhood, can we call it that? Punkhood.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
In his life of punkhood, started long before that, when he formed Lunatic Fringe in the 80s. So, Bear, can you tell me about your early life and your early musical influences?
Well, I suppose I'd always liked music to an extent when I was a teenager in the early 70s, and I think what happened was I started hearing some punk stuff, which was brand new, that came along to me when I was about 15, 16, and I was just completely converted when I started listening to the music, and I found it very inspiring and completely different to anything else that's going along. So I was completely committed to it from about the age of 15 and left school, and round about 1979, 1980, I decided to join a local band who were looking for a singer called Lunatic Fringe, and then we played a couple of gigs in a squat up in Clifton, and then down in town at the local usual places. Stonehouse is one of the first places we played, which is now buried underneath the Spectrum building, which is a famous cider pub that was demolished to make way for the Spectrum building. So, yeah, and then I was in the band, I think, until about 86. Yeah, so we had some great times, went abroad, released 2 singles and a couple of album tracks, and it was an amazing time to be young and involved in music. There was so much going on. There was so much diversity. There was punk, there was goth, there was ska. There's all these things going on. Yeah. Amazing time to be young.
Yeah. Whereabouts did you tour then?
Well, we toured over the UK. We also managed to do one festival show over in Paris, in the outskirts of Paris, with some friends of ours who were in French bands, and that's a whole book on its own for the absolute chaos of the whole thing, and it was brilliant, but it was very scary and very interesting. We ended up actually escaping from the gig and being taken by our drummer's French pen pals to the catacombs of Paris for a tour of the underground catacombs of Paris at night, which was completely mad. It's just one of those mad things, you know, you go to this festival, all this stuff's happening, and you end up in the catacombs underneath Paris.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So looking back at your sort of earliest musical influences before you joined the band, what songs did you sort of most resonate with?
Well, I think one of the most earliest songs that I really connected to was, I remember it came out around this time of year, and we were on a family holiday to Pembrokeshire, and I'd read in the music press that it was coming out, and it was Whiteman in Hammersmith Palais by The Clash, and I remember going to a small record shop in Haverfordwest and buying it, like the most treasured item I ever had, and of course I had to wait until I got back to Bristol home to actually play it. But yeah, I think that was a great influence on me, and that it was just. Then they were my favourite band throughout those times, from sort of 1978 till 82, 83, until they sadly split up later. But they were my favourite band of, probably of all time still.
Yeah, we'll hear that song in a moment. What was it about it that you really liked?
Because it spoke to me, and you could listen to the lyrics and you could hear the story, and the music was amazing, and it was slightly less thrashy and noisy than perhaps the Sex Pistols or the Damned or the other big punk bands around at the time. So it had a tune and a melody, and it sort of said something to me about politics, about life and that sort of thing. So yeah, it really spoke to me and sort of influenced me, as the Clash did for me and many other people, to think about, I'd like to have my own group. I like to be in a group. This is great fun. This is great, and it's doing something and saying something.
Yeah. Do you want to do the honours and introduce it?
Okay, so this is Whiteman in Hammersmith Palais by the Clash.
What a fantastic song that was, a great choice. That was Whiteman in Hammersmith Palais by The Clash. Thanks for tuning in this evening. You're listening to Nicola Explores, and joining me in the studio is Bear Hackenbush, and we're talking about his musical career. So thinking back to the 80s in Bristol, what was it about punk as a subculture that you connected with?
I think I connected immediately from the music when I was at school, and then leaving school and being one of the millions of unemployed youth. It attracted me. It's the anger, the tunes, the clothes, everything. So, and I think in Bristol we had a particularly vibrant scene that grew out of, we'd all go and hang around in Broadmead outside what was called then Virgin Records, which is now part of the new shopping development down there. And so we'd all hang out there and, swap records, stuff like that. And then there was a lot of bands playing all the time, which was great for Bristol. We had a lot of venues, a lot of bands playing. And then the DIY thing came through with bands like Lunatic Fringe, Disorder, Chaos UK, the Amoebics. So these all sort of started to appear in 81, 82. So there's an incredibly vibrant scene in Bristol. And, it was just a great time to be involved in something like that. And everything was very much DIY. We put our own gigs on. We'd squat places, or we'd get really cheap places to rent. A lot of us lived in housing association houses or squatting as well. We squatted buildings and set up our own cafes, and we even had a great big place down on Ashley Road, corner of Stokescroft, Ashley Hill, called the Demolition Ballroom, which was an old VW showroom, which we turned into a gig venue with a cafe next door to it. So yeah, it was very vibrant time to be involved in anything like that. And I think the music that was produced by the punk bands, in 82, 83 still is very much alive all over the world. There's still a real demand for it, even now, 40 plus years later.
Yeah, so the things that you were all singing and writing about, they're still relevant today, aren't they?
I think so, politically, because most of it is political, or also sort of animal liberation, things like that. But and it's still as relevant today as it ever was, really.
Yeah, and you touched upon your role in the band as singing, but also promoting. So what did you do in terms of that then when you put on your gigs?
Well, we'd put on the gigs, we'd either hire someone like Stonehouse, it's very, very easy to hire, and get the PA together, so then put out the publicity, and of course that involved basically flyers or posters here and there, and I think the word just spread very quickly amongst the whole sort of punk community of Bristol, so you'd always get a lot of people there. Yeah,
because of course it was very different times, because these days a lot of us just rely on social media to promote our gigs and club nights.
Yeah, our social media was writing a letter. For instance, not many people actually had a landline in their house. I didn't at the time when I was doing gigs. So I'd literally write a letter to a promoter in Newcastle, and he'd write back 2 days later I go, can we play up there? And they go 2 days later, yes, you could play up there. And we write, great, can we play with this band? Yeah, okay, that's great, right. And so you'd actually communicate with each other via letter.
That is fantastic. There's something that's so hard for me to get my head around now.
Yeah.
First class stamp, was it?
It's always second class, couldn't afford first class.
Second class stamp as well, very different.
Of course.
Yeah. How was the music scene in Bristol as a whole back then? Because obviously the punk scene was strong, but there must have been a lot else going on too.
Well, I mean, in the early 80s, pre sort of Massive Attack and the Wild Bunch, although we knew him then, Delge was a punk. He was one of the Massive Attack. He was briefly a punk, and Nelly Hooper, who went on to be the great producer of so many bands all over the world. He was also sort of punk at the time. So and we used to sort of all know each other, and that's sort of the Wild Bunch, and then Massive Attack came later on, I think. But that was all sort of part of that Bristol scene, but in some ways we all knew each other anyway.
Yeah. And was Bristol at the forefront? Was that really important as a city within the UK for the punk scene?
I think it was. Outside of London and perhaps Nottingham, that was the city that had the most bands coming from it, the biggest amount of people into it, and I think Bristol produced more than its fair share of bands in those early days that went on to be really well known throughout the sort of world and the UK in the sort of punk community.
Yeah, why do you think Bristol might have been such a big, important city for it?
It's hard to say. It's in the same way as why did that whole trip-hop thing come out of Bristol? I mean, a lot of people, I think, in those days moved up from the southwest for one, because it was the biggest city in the southwest. So a lot of the people that I knew came to live in Bristol from the southwest, from Cornwall, Devon, all from the surrounding towns like Portishead and Peel, where KSUK are from, Clevedon, where Disorder originally from, the Amoebics, they were from Devon. So maybe it's something to do with that. But I don't think anyone could really ever put their finger on it. And perhaps the amount of cheap housing, perhaps the amount of good, cheap places for bands to play as well. And in one respect, they had a guy who owned the record company, Riot City, a guy called Simon Edwards, who's still going strong. He actually signed a lot of the bands really early when most record labels wouldn't touch any bands. So I think something like him, Simon Edwards, having this record label, Riot City, really helped promote the whole scene of Bristol.
Yeah, so it's surprising how some people can be quite influential, isn't it?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Have a big influence on the city's scene as a whole.
Yeah.
We're going to hear one of your songs in a moment, and it's one with Bristol in the title, so that's very exciting. Bristol Buses, what inspired it?
Bristol Buses was written by Lunatic Fringe guitarist John Finch, and I think we write very political songs, but we also had some very stupid songs. And this is basically a song moaning about how rubbish the Bristol buses are. And I think the problem is people still think that's relevant today. 43 years later, people are still moaning about buses.
That's absolutely right. They certainly didn't take heed of your song.
Absolutely not.
And here it is.
bcfmradio.com and leave comments about your favourite programmes. BCFM 93.2, your interactive station 24 hours a day.
You're listening to Nicola Explores on BCFM.
Welcome back to Nicola Explores, and we're here chatting with Bear Hackenbush this evening, and we just heard one of his songs, Bristol Buses, which he first performed with Lunatic Fringe, and I understand that you still perform it now with your new band, Glue Bag.
Yeah, we're still doing that. We Glue Bag are an amalgamation of members of some of the more well-known punk bands, i.e. Lunatic Fringe, Chaos UK, Disorder and Chaotic Discord. So it's a kind of punk supergroup, if you'd like to call it that. But so we do Lunatic Fringe songs, we do some Chaotic Discord songs, Disorder songs, Chaos UK songs, and and also Moa, who was one of the singers of Chaos UK, is also in the group. He comes up and does his own bit with for Chaos UK stuff.
We absolutely will call it that, a Bristol Punk supergroup.
Well, there
fantastic.
You go. Not my words.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Yeah, well, that's fantastic that you all actually work together as well. And sometimes you put on different events and things. Are there any events that you have coming up soon?
Well, yeah, of course. We will be playing live at the famous Dean Lane Hardcore Festival, which takes place at Dean Lane Skatepark down in sunny Bedminster. That's on the 22nd of August. We'll be on quite early, around about 1:30, I think. But it's a brilliant event for Bristol. It's completely free. It's completely DIY organised. And basically what happens is they turn up with a gazebo, with some, with all the amps, drums, some music, and they just get bands to play it. And there's usually about 10 bands, a lot of very young Bristol bands playing, and it's a great audience, probably 1,000 plus there. And yeah, we're really happy to be playing. We were going to play last year, but unfortunately got rained off. It's not the sort of event you can do in torrential rain. So second time lucky on this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Well, we've had so much sunshine. Let's hope it keeps shining. It's a free event, isn't it, I think?
Absolutely free. Yeah. Anyone can go, any age, all ages, you know, a lot of very young people, a lot of skaters there, a lot of older people, families, you know. So it's a great event, and it's been going, I think, about 10 or 12 years now, because it was sort of set up just for a bit of fun on one occasion, but now they sort of just officially do it every year in the summer, around the summer bank holiday, end of August. But yeah, it's great. It's a brilliant event.
Yeah, and so that's on Saturday the 22nd of August.
22nd, and we'll be on fairly early, things going well, around about 1:30. And then you could probably look it up online, there's a host of other bands playing up until about 8 o'clock. And then I think there's an after party at various pubs around Bristol. Yeah, over the Skaters pub just over the road. And I think there's one over in the Chelsea in Easton.
Oh, that's fantastic. Things kick off about 1 p.m. So head down to the Dean Lane Hardcore Fondue. So just thinking back over your time over the years performing, are there any particular memorable gigs that stand out to you?
With the Lunatic Fringe, I mean, playing the 100 Club up in London was amazing. We supporting Vice Squad, who were the trailblazers really for most of us, and that was brilliant fun. And we played quite a lot at the legendary Granary, long gone now, a brilliant venue in the 70s and 80s. Some massive bands played there, like Led Zeppelin, things like that. But we supported some great bands down there, and really, you know, that was amazing to do that. And of course, the infamous Paris gig, which is, as I said, a whole book in itself.
Yeah, I recently saw some BBC archive footage on YouTube. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And they're filming around Broadmead in Bristol.
Yes.
Yes. And they're interviewing punks and a variety of locals, asking what they think about the punks as well. And you're actually in that video, aren't you?
I am. I think it was for Points West or local television, and it was a piece. They also, you know, they're interviewing some of the older ladies. They caught a few guys doing dancing, what's it called? Yeah.
Oh, but some breakdancing.
Breakdancing,
yes. That's
it. And people go, oh, that's Stingy. Yeah, oh, I've never seen him before. But yeah, they just kept randomly. I was hanging out with two guys. I was still in contact with one of those guys. And it was just some BBC guy who was asking me what to do in there. And and then it's been on the BBC archive forever. And I think someone discovered it 5 or 6 years ago and said, I found this in the BBC archive, and then sent it to me and posted it a bit. But I think recently they've uploaded it all to YouTube, which is why it's now everywhere. Because every other Facebook message I get is like, oh, Bear, have you seen this? I go, yes, I have seen this. I'm very familiar with it now. But yeah, it was just, something that popped up from 40 years ago. I had no memory whatsoever of even doing it. And we was just sort of chatting about, I can't get a job where I look, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly as it is.
Like a teenager. Yeah, can't get a job. Oh, it's rubbish round here. That.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'll play a clip from it in just a second.
Yeah.
So it was filmed in 1984. It's a great clip, and it's called 1984: A Normal Saturday Afternoon in Bristol.
Walk into shops, he'll sort of look at you, but
when we go in shops, we usually get followed around. They think you go around shoplifting.
Yeah, I mean, you hold the door open to people and they're really surprised, you know. I mean, I'm a sort of violent person, but everyone looks at me as if I'm going to sort of hit them, you know.
Well, it's not just clothing, that's the old way of thinking.
Yeah, but there's
attitudes towards life.
Why you shouldn't be a punk anymore, like get a job and be able to go places nighttime and things like that.
I got a job?
Yeah.
Well, working?
Never used to have a job when I had funny haircuts. Me, never used to be able to get a job then.
And it's not the same people who were punks in '76, but it's changed in that, got more of a direction, and now
branched off, hasn't it?
Yeah, branched off in different things, ways. And punks got things to do.
Well, it's all right as long as they behave themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a
But
crowd
when they
there
get out
now,
of
you know,
hand, then
get
it
out
makes
of
it
hand.
unpleasant for the older people that come shopping. That's what I think about it.
Well, did you behave yourself?
Occasionally.
Good answer for the radio, that.
Yeah, it was just saying that everyone did. Basically, Saturday afternoon, you'd go and hang around Broadmead because you had nothing else to do. Didn't have any money. You may have enough money to buy a few singles, but otherwise, it was just like a meeting point. I've no idea if teenagers still do it today, but yeah, that was the focal point, hanging around outside Virgin Record, or, as you heard there, with the right in the middle of Broadmead, they used to have a great big merry-go-round. That's the bell you can hear.
Oh, that's what that is.
That's what that is. Yeah, it's a giant merry-go-round. That used to be the centre point of Broadmead, which is now it's just a flat paved area. But then they had a sort of bandstand with a great big merry-go-round on it.
Oh, what a shame. Bring back the merry-go-round,
exactly.
I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do one of those. Maybe a song on the horizon about bringing that back.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, do look up that clip. It is very interesting if you're interested in Bristol history. It's, like I said, it's called 1984, A Normal Saturday Afternoon in Bristol. Anyway, I shouldn't really be promoting the BBC. So I know that you're not adverse to YouTube, and you very kindly starred in one of my own YouTube documentaries. My radio show is named after my YouTube channel, Nicola Explores, and on my YouTube channel you can find me out and about chatting with locals, filming pubs and making independent documentaries about the city. And you starred in a documentary about Bristol Punks, and in that documentary we talked about the punk scene and some of the iconic pubs and clubs in Bristol that have closed. You've touched on a few of them just now, the Granary being one of them. Is that one, or are there any particular music venues that you miss?
I think the Granary was the main one. The Stonehouse, as I said, now buried underneath the Spectrum building, was brilliant for the band starting up. Yeah, there was Tiffany's, which was, short-lived, but they put that. Tiffany's is now the hospital at the top of Black Boy Hill, and the Downs near the Water Tower. That used to be a nightclub there, which, of course, a lot of my father's generation would have gone there when they were younger dancing, I think. But other than that, no, I mean, that was the main venues, because the bigger venues are still there, like the Beacon and the studios, which the Locarno used to be upstairs from the academy where the ice rink was. So that was a great place where a lot of bands played of all genres. A lot of really good punk bands played there. But the sadly missed is mainly, I think, the Granary, because that was the place to see bands in the 70s and 80s.
And for people that aren't familiar with it, what was it actually like inside?
Well, it was like a 3 or 4 floor. I don't know what it originally was, a grain store. They used to make cells there, but it's a big cavernous place, like roofs, and always hot, always very smelly. But it was a great venue run by a guy called Les, who was brilliant. He'd be on the door every night with his pint of cider and letting everyone in, and he'd always be saying, "Oh, let's get Lunatic Fringe to play again. Oh, I like Lunatic Fringe playing." So yeah, he used to be the guy who actually ran the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, and do you know why it closed in the end?
I'm not sure. I think they sold the building or something to do with ill health. I'm not really sure. I think the owner may have wanted to sell up, as far as I can remember. But no, it's been a lot of things since then, but it's mainly a restaurant, with accommodation upstairs. But it was the best Bristol venue.
Yeah, it's interesting when buildings keep reinventing themselves, and they're one lease of life and another lease of life. Like when you're in there dining now, it's sort of hard to believe that there would have been lots of sweaty punks and just out on the stage, and like several floors of people enjoying all of the music.
Yeah, well,
it
was, and of course there was also in the basement they used to run nightclubs there. And they used to run sort of goth nightclubs there in the mid-'80s sort of thing. But yeah, it was, the whole building was, was brimming with life in those days. And I think it goes right back to the early 70s, and a lot of the sort of glam and rock bands would have played at the Granary on the circuit sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And with those closing, of course, there are new ones that have sprung up since as well. So how do you think Bristol's music scene and nightlife has changed since then?
It's changed because nothing stays the same, and it goes through troughs and it goes through highs. I think Bristol's music scene is brilliant. I think with the punk DIY sort of hardcore scene, it's probably the best scene in the UK by a long way. Mainly, there's so many bands from here. There's so many good venues that are into putting on bands and really good music in Bristol. There's a lot of great bands coming out of Bristol still. But I think that's always been the way, you know.
Which venues do you particularly like these days?
Well, I really enjoy playing down at the Chelsea Inn, which is a pub in Easton, literally 100 yards from the studio. That's great. The landlord is a great Kane, he's a great guy, and they put on most of the gigs they put on are free, so you can just turn up and watch. So that's a great venue run by sort of people we know. And I like the Golden Lion. Golden Lion's another pub up on Gloucester Road with a back room. They are bigger bands playing there, you know, for money, but we've put gigs on there, and it's great because it's a really good sort of community pub up there. Yeah, so those are two of my favourites.
At the Golden Lion as well, they do encourage a lot of people just starting out as well. They have a weekly open mic night as well, and they really try to encourage people that want to try playing their songs for the first time just to give it a go. And then you never know what might become of those people that are just starting out.
Exactly. You know, that's the great thing about, and I think there's the Red Lion as well. That's in Easton. Similar sort of, you know, Chelsea, Red Lion. Golden Lion, very similar. They sort of have open mics, a lot of new artists playing there and more established artists and DJs and all sorts of, from jazz to sort of funk to all kinds of stuff, poetry, which is great. And it's what any city really needs, is lots of places to play and lots of diversity within that.
Yeah, last time I was at the Golden Lion, just a couple of weeks ago actually, we saw a post-punk band there called the New Dark Age, and they formed relatively recently. They're a 4-piece band, and there's a female singer, frontwoman, and she was fantastic. And it's great to see that this scene's still alive and there's still lots of new bands being formed. Why do you think people should get out and support bands?
I think if you've got an interest in music and it's something you could do, and remember a lot of these gigs are completely free, so it's not like a money thing, and if you just look into what's going on, it's quite easy to find out in these days of the World Wide Web, and there's usually something going on in some of these places every single night of the week, so it's great to go out and support the bands. I mean, if it's a free gig, you can always make a donation. Someone's usually coming around with a cup at the end of it. So yeah, just try and go out and support them on a weeknight or whenever. If you look around, there's always something going on that might interest you.
Yeah, and it goes hand in hand as well, doesn't it? So the, with pubs and clubs struggling a bit at the moment as well, and we're always hearing about pubs and clubs having to close because of financial difficulties. So do you think having a variety of bands sort of helps the venue as well?
I think absolutely. I think that's why a lot of these pubs who can't rely on food sales, so they go, hang on, we've got a great big back room here, why don't we open up and have bands playing? You know, which was the original thing with pubs back in the 70s and 80s who started putting gigs on. They thought, we've got this completely disused skittle alley out the back, or this social function room that no one uses anymore. Why don't we put a gig on and get loads of people in? And I think if they've got the space, they will, open it up, get some bands or some music or anything really in there to get people in. It's an added attraction.
Love Bristol. Love BCFM 93.2.
So as well as producing music, I understand that you also worked on some music videos alongside your brother. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, this would be, we're talking about Collision Films here, which was run by my brother Chris Hopewell and his partner Ben Foley, who started to get interested in making music videos, really when music videos were nearing their height, which is late 90s, early 2000s, and they started making videos. I think the Wild Hearts were the first one. And then they got an offer to make Radiohead, which blew them out the water, you know, a massive international band. And so they filmed most of it up at Lee Woods with the singer. And I think because their speciality was stop motion animation, the sort of, you know, Wallace and Gromit, for instance, that's stop motion animation using plasticine models, that sort of thing. So they started doing that, and eventually I came and worked for them as their studio manager and main set builder. So yeah, we did some really big bands. We did one for the Killers, Elbow. We also did one for, you know, so a lot of the really big bands at the time did videos through Collision Films. And yeah, it was great. And unfortunately, from the outset of the internet, and then as people changed the way they bought music and viewed music, so the video industry's not quite the same. But they are still doing. They recently made one for Wet Leg. So they've worked. That's my brother on his own, who now lives over in Weston and makes a lot of the claymation models that get used in videos now.
I mean, it's quite funny, really, that it's impressive that it's still going, because there's so much competition now, because, well, with AI coming in and computer graphics, and people can make something that looks similar, although not the same. So it's almost sort of quite punk and DIY, isn't it? Just sort of using clay, if you can put it like that.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is artists and musicians don't want AI videos because they want something real.
Yes.
They don't want to use AI or computer generated. That's the charm of stop motion animation and plasticine figures, is that it's got that feel that you know it's real. That's what the bands are still interested in. And most of the videos they did had some aspect of stop motion animation in them.
Yeah, the authenticity.
Absolutely.
A computer system can't recreate that. You also used to DJ in the 90s and the 2000s. So what kind of music did you play?
Well, I think I started in one of the very small clubs near the Hatchet. I started there. I filled in because someone else couldn't do it anymore, so I started playing stuff. This was the time when the Stone Roses were breaking, so I was playing quite a lot of indie. And then I moved on to work with the Kandi Klub, which was a massive club in the mid-90s, early 90s at the studios. The Academy upstairs, there's a place called the Studios, and I used to have a great big club there. Then I started working in the goth metal clubs. Yeah, we used to run our own quite successful club down at Bierkeller called the Pig Club on a Thursday. And that was sort of metal, indie, that sort of thing. The big bands at the time would have been sort of Rage Against the Machine, The Offspring, Green Day, things like that, and some more gothy type stuff as well, and the sort of industrial. But yeah, the stuff that was really massive at the time.
Yeah, and the Bierkeller, that's another venue that's closed, isn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah.
They were another great venue. I mean, I've played there many times with different bands, DJed there, seen some amazing gigs there. Completely forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's somewhere that I used to regularly go to as well. The Saturday nights, they had like their house band, which was the Oompah band.
Oompah band, yeah.
And then everyone was encouraged to dance on the tables with big steins of lager and cider, or these really strange looking cocktails, which were like a sort of fluorescent blue or pink, not sure what was in those. Yeah, so that was a very different sort of regular club night that they had on the Friday and the Saturday. So it went from mosh pit to sitting around.
That's right, and it was amazing at the Oompah night. I think the Oompah night was there all the way through the Bierkeller, through thick and thin. They always have Saturday night was Oompah night, so you could never hire the Bierkeller on a Saturday for a gig. No Oompah night, and I think it was there from the day it opened to the day it closed it, because I think it was a Bristol institution. by then. A Bristol legend was the Oompah night at the Bierkeller. I never actually went myself, but I know a lot of people who did.
Yeah, it was very popular.
Yeah.
And they sometimes had the Wurzels on alongside
That's
them
it,
as well,
yeah,
double
yeah.
bill. Are there any sort of club nights that you enjoy going to these days?
Well, of course, not that I go to too many clubs now, being 63, but I do really enjoy Electric Barbarella. That's great fun, the sort of synthy early 80s music club. And of course, I love going to Fondue.
Oh, thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah, and so both of us, Electric Barbarella and Fondue, we're both in Z Alley, which is another great venue in Bristol, just off the city centre. I feel like it's sort of yet to be fully discovered, though. It's a little bit underground still. It's not quite on everyone's radar, so it feels quite intimate and sort of cult-like because of that. But I'm sure it's one of these that's going to sort of grow and become even more well-known throughout the years, because it's one of those buildings with a really long history as well, so it's actually in a former cellar.
Oh, yeah, it's a perfect place for a club because it's a cavern.
Yes.
And who doesn't like dancing around in a cavern? And it's got that feel. It's not too big that you feel like, oh, this is far too big. It's not, and it's got the intimacy, which is great. That's the perfect place for clubs, and I think there could be a lot more gigs there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, at Fondue we play records from the 1970s, and that's a mixture of glam rock, disco, bubblegum pop and classic rock. What songs did you enjoy hearing on the first night?
I always likes to hear a bit of Suzi Quatro, always like to hear a bit of Sweet, always like to hear a bit of Slade. But it was great fun. You forget sometimes how good these records are, especially the Suzi Quatro records. You forget how rocking and good they actually were.
Yeah, and she has such a powerful voice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're going to play one of your favourite glam rock songs now, and it might come to no surprise to everybody that it's a really high energy glam rock song. Bear, would you like to do the honours and introduce it?
Yeah, this is Hellraiser by Sweet.
She said, now go on, get her going, hold it tight. I said,
That was Hellraiser by The Sweet, and it got to number 2 in 1973. If you're a fan of those 70s songs, then you can come down to Fondue, Bristol. Our next club night is on Friday the 28th of August, and tickets are still available from Head First Bristol, and you'll find all the links on our social media pages too. Just give Fondue Bristol a follow if you'd like to hear 70s glam rock, pop and disco. Bear, thanks for joining me in the studio this evening. Can you let our listeners know where they can find your songs by Gluebag?
Yeah, we're all over YouTube. Always posting the new stuff. We've got a social site on Facebook. And I think the upcoming show on August 22nd at Dean Lane is all over the socials again, so it's not hard to find.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's an all-day event from 1pm until 8pm, Saturday the 22nd of August, so get yourself down to it. So thank you very much for joining me today, and we're going to end today's show with a little bit of Bowie. Rebel, Rebel.
Faces